They might have to build a stadium in Jaffna now, bro.
Yeah, Kanda has a statue maybe lined up for him up
Yeah.
there.
Welcome to another episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Doing good, Vida. Good news. We've managed to win a T20 match here
Yes.
last game. So we got a lot to talk about the series to unfold. But yeah, happy to be here recording an episode to discuss about Sri Lanka cricket. How about yourself?
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, it was really good to see our boys win a game. We were not the favorites coming into this series. I was hoping that we'll at least win 2 games in this series, but I'm happy with at least one win, and we tied one game. So I would say we want to almost everything we're going to talk about in this episode is about the Australia series. So I mean, we'll talk about what we gained from this series, and I think the bowling attack looked really good in this series in all 5 games. Kusal Mendis made a comeback into the 11 and opened batting in the last couple of games, and he was there till the end, till when we won the game. And we'll talk about the role Lasith Malinga played as a bowling consultant in this tour as well. So let's start with what have we gained from this series in your opinion, Bora? I think we've done really well for a young team coming into Australia without many experienced players in the team.
Yeah, I think good result for the young group there. I think heading into the 2022 World Cup here in Australia, the boys, I mean, they would have gotten on the plane yesterday night um, in preparation, or they probably are heading into India. So they're probably on that flight thinking, hang on, it wasn't a bad series. We had potential there, and we can take a lot out of it, coming back in November. I guess there is now an expectation within the team that we can get something out of it, whereas a couple of maybe a year or two ago, there wasn't any expectations. It was more almost like a slug. We're gonna get, we're gonna end up on the losing side, whereas now we feel we're building up a defense to be able to compete with teams. Again, this series, I know it reads 4-1 for Australia, but there were instances where we were ahead of the game, and we just slightly made or just made some mistakes that pulled us or took us out of the game, and that lead could, it happens a lot with the experience of the team. I think the boys will learn from those mistakes. I think they're good enough to learn from that mistakes very quickly. We've always had been fighting. I mean, I was lucky enough. I went to watch the game on Friday at the G. Um, Again, we were ahead of the game, but then by the 12th, 13th over, Kusal Mendis got run out, and unfortunately, I was right behind where Maxwell was fielding. So again, massive effort by himself. He charged down the line, picked the ball, hit, threw it at the stumps, and from where I was just behind where he was fielding. I could just see the ball just straight. It wasn't missing any of the stumps. It just like an arrow just went straight in, and it's that sinking feeling you had where you're seeing Kusal Mendis trying hard to get in, but he had no chance there. So, and that sparked a mini collapse, and we couldn't get there. Even the games where, I mean, the tied game, we were almost there, and we just didn't execute or make the right decisions at that time. We pushed the strong Aussie team. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't score the high 180s, 200 scores. Australia couldn't score that. So our bowling attack's really strong. We've managed to pull it back. So a lot of positives. What we need now slowly is there's going to be a period where we are going to expect results, and hopefully the boys can deliver at that time the results we need. That's how I see it from the series. But with a little bit of advice or something, since what we can improve is not so much the cricket side of things, but this is more of a logistical or operational aspect for Sri Lanka cricket to probably keep an eye out. I mean, coming in November, that's going to be just come spring or the back end of spring. It's going to be a bit cold, and playing out in Geelong, it's going to be very windy. Got to pack our kits well, especially
Yeah.
to look after the boys. Wind jackets, jackets to keep themselves warm. Um, that's an area. If we are to be smart, we got to be ahead, and so we look after the boys, so they are ready for the conditions. I think you would have noticed it as well. I don't think we struggle as much against playing on the pitches. I think we adapted well. I didn't see a lot of the boys struggle on flat. Even the pace didn't look to trouble them as much. I mean, Pathum Nissanka handled the pace really well. I think he set the tone for the rest of the batters to understand, hang on, we can get through it. But whereas probably a few years ago, maybe more, pace would have, troubled us. Now it's spin. But we'll have a chat or come to the topic of how we
Yeah.
tackle spin. That's my thoughts of the series with that.
No, I think you covered it nicely. One thing we didn't do well in the start of the series was not capitalizing the power play overs when we are batting Bora. I know we were facing a top class bowling attack with Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummings bowling in Sydney and Canberra. But after the first three games, I think we took more singles in the last couple of games. I mean, that helped us to, rotate the strike more. I mean, batting looked a bit better when we were taking more singles in the last couple of games. As you said, the runouts and losing a couple of 2-3 wickets in clumps didn't help our cause in that fourth game. I think the shining light was Pathum Nissanka in this series. I mean,
Yep.
remember we back in June last year in the England tour, we were thinking we were looking for a few players to build a team on, and he was not a name we even discussed. And the maturity he has shown in this short period of time, it's been amazing. He top scored in the series, and as I said earlier, Kusal Mendis, he looked home when opening the batting in T20's. I think his record is better when he's opening the battings. But did we lack some firepower in that power play overs, Bora, when we are batting? We didn't have someone who can take on the bowling, especially when facing someone like Stark and Hazelwood.
Yeah, I think fair call. We managed to get the batting order right towards the back end because it was the last series of the game, and then we wanted to change and give everyone a go. So they were forced to make that change. Why they didn't make the change early up was probably to counter the leg spinners and the left arm spinners, and having a left hand, right hand batting order through, because it was only Danushka and Charit Tasalanka as the two left-handers. So that's what kept Danushka in the team, I think, throughout the series.
Yeah.
And when you have Danushka in, you got to, the thinking would have been, let's keep Kusal Mendis in the middle order. But that's where we, I think, missed a beat. We could have gone, look, Pathum pretty much had his spot seal. It was more okay out of Danushka and Kusal,
Yeah.
who's in better touch. And I think Kusal was in better touch leading up into it. That's how he forced himself into the series. So they should have gone with that rather than this left hand, right hand concept, and then worked around it. But we saw it. I mean, Kusal Mendis batted well. He timed it well. He knew he had to be there right till the end, and he played a good innings. I'm sure he'll take confidence, and he's got a lot to make up for some of the mistakes he's done in the past, and he'll build on it. He's such a quality player. When he's on song, he looks so good. Where I think we missed a beat probably was playing spin as a
Especially
batting
Ega
group.
against Ega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where I think the biggest thing I noticed was playing spin at the speeds between the 90 plus kilometers an hour speeds, where even the ball that is just short, our guys are not used to that speed, they can't rock back on the back foot and be able to play those shots, because then they used to play in spinners that bowl at 70, 80
Yeah.
kilometers an hour. That's because in Sri Lanka you have to bowl a bit slower, get the the pitch to do all the variations. If not, it skids into the bat. So that's where I think the biggest learning was in terms of us playing spin, as well as our spinners bowling to the batters. Because when you're bowling at that speed, and if you don't read the ball, it's very hard to rock back and play. Whereas our guys were bowling at 80 to 90, not 90 plus an hour. And even the wrong ones with the guys ball, if they lean slightly short, and they're able to adjust, rock back and play some shots. Whereas against the Agas, I mean, Ashton Agar, we couldn't hit him for a boundary of the entire 5-match series. So that's the biggest learning curve, I think, for our spinners, because it's a hard one. Your body is not used to bowling at that top speeds, because it has to be a natural speed to bowl at. So hopefully they'll adjust and be able to, or smart enough to know, okay, when we are touring, we got to get our speeds really high. Sorry, you might have seen my lights go out. Just my daughter walked in and switched off the light. So I'm back on. But yeah, coming back to the speeds, that's where I saw it. And hope they'll adjust. I'm sure our bowlers would have watched Aga bowl, and they made an adjustment. Okay, I need to get my speeds up. That's some work the management as well as the players will have to go home and work on.
We have to come back in October, November and do it all over again. And we don't have room for error when we come back in October, because we have to win games. We can treat this as a practice tour, but not in October, November. Talking about speeds, for our fast bowlers, Dushmantha Chameera and Lasith Kumara, they were both clocking 145 plus. It was really good to see. Both of them were hurrying the Aussie batsmen, and they couldn't get him away. And Lasith Kumara used his variations well in the 2 matches he played. He seems to have worked out a plan, and maybe Lasith Malinga's presence in the dressing room must have helped. What do you think?
I mean, it builds a confidence when you have a guy like Lasith Malinga in your camp, and he's I can bounce off a guy who's the best in that trade. I think Lasith Kumar especially, he's got pace, and you could see him always testing. It was good him playing the back end to see how we would cope in these conditions, and certain passages of play he was building that speed, and his short balls were well directed at some of the batters. So that's where I see our guys, Lasith Kumara improving. Good conditions for him, so he knows now he has to bowl out and out fast for us to have that difference, because Dushmantha, it gives more opportunity for us to use Dushmantha where we want him, rather than Dushmantha coming in always to bowl bouncers at a batter, or we can now use Lasith to do all those the heavy bowling in terms of the short balls and the speeds, and Dushmantha would be more tactical to get us the wickets where we want it, and change situations of the matches. And playing in Australia, you need that 2 out and out quicks, which is Dushmantha, Lasith Kumara. Charmik would be the all-round spot, Manidu as the spinning spot, Mahesh Deekshana as the fifth bowler or the spin ball. That's good, pretty handy 5 bowlers to have. And in your lineup, you have your Vinura Fernandes, Dasun Shanaka to bowl that 1 or 2 over spell, and your backup spinners in, I think, Praveen or whoever the backup spinner we have coming into Australia come November. So but yeah, I think Lasith Malinga has had a good influence. I mean, they've all worked or played with him or had come across him. I think the only guys who probably haven't had that exposure is your Pathum Nissankas, Charita Salankas, them we haven't seen, but Malinga would have worked around with the rest of it. Good habits for these guys to learn. What I think it's a short stint. Lasith Malinga, bowling consultant for a short period of time. How the guys need to now, improve. That's where they've got to work on their own, go home and
Yeah.
start learning. Okay, these are little things I've learned of him, and put that into practice. On a positive note, come November, Lasith Malinga might be in Melbourne.
Yeah.
If there's opportunity to signing up again as a consultancy, being on a short stint, go for it. That'll work out well.
Why not permanently with the white ball setup, Laura? It's worth it
Yeah,
because we are going to India
yeah,
soon after this, and there's three T20s there, and I don't see why not, because his presence. You can see the way, especially the fast bowlers, they bowl to a plan. When they bowl, they change their fields. They know exactly what they're doing, and they
yeah,
most of the time they execute their plan. So some, like when we talked about Mahela was in that setup, we saw a big difference, the way the batsmen are playing, and
yeah,
Mali's presence in that dressing room, you can see the way the bowlers are bowling. His presence has given these boys lots of encouragement, the strategies they've talked about. So why not, for a permanent basis, sign him up till the World Cup as the white ball consultant?
yeah. Good. Up for that suggestion. I think what number one, what I've seen and I guess picked up on is he's got different coaching personality.
Mm.
He's up and about. He's there. He's very involved. So it's a different personality, like the Jose Mourinho's of Chelsea, where he's throw wave his hands and stuff and move around. Where um, I'm not saying Lasith Malinga does that, but you could see him walking around the boundary lines, having that chats to the players, showing his input. So encouraging signs for a young team to learn and bounce off him. Also, the management team would have learned a lot of him. I mean, this is one of the most experienced T20 campaigners going around. We know how sharp a brain he is at the
Mm.
game. So the other guys would have learned little insights into how he plans and what areas he wants to work out. Because um, and if possible, I guess he probably has commitments that might prevent him from going to India as with the team or being part of. But if there's opportunity, now's the period probably to lock it in till November, as an opportunity for them to get more work out of him. They might have had that chat. If not, they probably are thinking about it now, having seen what's happened out here.
They should do it quickly, Bora, because I'm sure other teams are looking at him as well, because they know he is here, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they must be looking into lock him in as well. So you had to be on the ball quickly as possible. One other thing I wanted to talk about, Bora, in the middle order, I think we still need a one experienced player in there. I know Banuka was not in this tour, and
Yeah.
one player I can think of is Angelo Matthews. One of them still have a chance to come in. I'm sure Banuka will at least make it to the squad. Someone like Angelo, I
Yeah.
think the door is still open for Angelo to come into the white ball team.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're right there. Banuka definitely will come into the mix because but I guess he'll have to sort out if it's a fitness requirement
Mm.
or selection, what comes into the national camp. I mean, there are standards set for overall all players. So if once he meets all of that, he'll definitely be in the mix. Because, for example, if Banuka was on this tour, Danushka wouldn't have played. Kusal Mendis would have opened straight away, and Banuka slots into that middle order.
Yeah.
And Angelo Matthews can make it in as well. Again, it's just one batting slot they are all fighting for, because you'll have Pathum pretty much on current form. He sealed that. Kusal Mendis goes into the second spot. Charita Salanka, yeah, even Avishka is struggling to hold a spot in this 11
Yeah.
now because his T20 form's not there. And I think it's a right call to keep him out. Vanidu Hasaranga's there. So Angelo Matthews, possible to come into that attack, but then he'll have to bat number 4, number 3, because you want to start pushing your Vanidus into the number 5s. Anuka probably again could be that number 6 or number 3 spot, Charita Salanka. So there is potential at the top. We don't want to bring in, part-time player batter into that number 7, 8 spot. So it's, when you look at it, like, let's just thinking out loud when you said Banuka and Angelo, good, but it's a massive headache, right? Even Dasun Shanaka like you hear it in the people talking about, hang on, Dasun's spot is a bit, how's he hanging on to a spot? But
he's done well in this series, bro.
He's done well. He's what I think we tend to do not see is he's trying to string up a team together and try to get them, moving in one direction. So that comes with discipline. Some decisions he make are not going to be, it's not going to please everyone. So, but he'll have to make that call in line to make sure, okay, hang on, this is a direction I want to take the team in. So, so that's where I see this team. Angelo Matthews, I think from the group, because we've seen what he can do, but he's been away from the T20 game, which is a slight worry. So we'll have need to see where he's at in his game. Certainly good quality to have, but it's almost like we've got a good 20 players here that it's now, okay, hang on, how can I structure it into, fine tune it? You're right with the names you put it out there. I think they just creates a good vibe when you see a guy like Angelo Matthews coming in. If he makes it into that team, just look stronger. Then what happens? What it'll do is the likes of your Chandimals. There's only one spot for all of these guys, so that means Kusal Mendis will have to keep, and then whoever comes in will have to slot in. So that's good selection headaches for the guys who are making it. What I'd like to talk about about the series before I think we can then head into some question and answers with is 2 areas where I notice we have to improve on massively is DRS. How we got to be a bit more smarter. At the moment, they're just getting their emotions, take control, and we're losing the plot there. And the overrates, that's going to bite us big time. Because I mean, when I was watching the 4th game, you could see the guys trying to make an effort, get through the overs quickly, but little things like at the end of the over, got to run through, get ready, be on top of the mark. Some of the field settings, you got to be quick enough. You can't be going back and forth, changing players up and down. So if you don't, with the new rules that more fielders have to come in once your allocated time goes over, the fielder, I mean, at the both, I think there was games where we played with 4 fielders out in the boundaries, and that's
that cost us the game. Matthew Wade hit 2 sixes because he knew what the ball was going to bowl. So we had to bowl with a mid-on in the circle. That over, we mess up your plan.
Little things we've got to be smart. This is something I didn't note. Like one thing I saw, like the keepers' helmets and stuff like that. You got to be quick enough to move that around. Field settings, again, we've just got to get through. I know we've got 2 quick fast bowlers who use the run-ups, but Australia had Stark, Cummins and Hazelwood, so no excuse for them not to be able to get through their overs. Those little things you got to take into account. DRS, again, we just get excited. A lot of the excitement is like, it's no point going, we're trying to get an inch by, hoping it'll hit the stumps and the umpires are mistakes. Now, you got to be a bit more calm and think, hang on, is that a very poor decision, or if it's a half decision, don't, like 2 LBWs, we went for the review. I could see that I was towards 3rd man, where I could see that's going down leg. And I think I sent you a text thinking,
I remember.
So And again, it's a training thing. You've got to trust one person. If it's a keeper, the bowlers are very excited. The bowlers tend to go, yeah, that's out. When keep the bowlers out of it for a while, let the guys. I think the keeper's more of a smart
Yeah.
one, but someone good enough to make some decisions. Our DRS is very poor. We got to improve on that.
I think that's a good place to wrap up about the Australia series. You happy with 4-1 or you disappointed?
Disappointed that we didn't get much wins, but at least we didn't get smashed around the park. We always kept
Exactly.
Australia in check. So if you think about that and think about the team, we'll be happy with the outcome. Some of the players, Mahesh Theekshana, I forgot to mention, he bowled like Ashton Agar
Yeah.
bowled really well because he didn't get hit for a boundary, but Ashton Agar didn't bowl much in the power plays,
Yeah.
whereas Mahesh did a lot of bowling in the power plays. So when you think of that, I think he had a pretty good series as well.
It's been fantastic.
So that was a good spot. If the guys, it looks good vibes in the camp. Like we can
Yeah.
always reflect. Look, these boys are new. They don't. I keep referring. They haven't seen some of the bad habits that was creeping in the
Yeah.
past.
Didn't see any egos there, bro.
Yeah,
Egos
they
there.
don't see that bad habits. Hopefully, those bad habits don't creep in. And when you have 80% of the crew who don't see that bad habits, the others tend to keep away as well. So that's something good for this group of players.
Okay, so we are going to India after this. They announced a squad, but pretty much a similar squad. No Banuka in there, so he hasn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, he hasn't sorted out his fitness issues.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's not there. But it's
Okay.
pretty much the same squad. Yeah, I don't even want to go through the names. So 3
Yeah.
matches in India.
Yeah.
Normally, when Asian team travel to Australia and when they go back, they do really well. So hopefully we'll carry this momentum of the last game and surprise India at home. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking to do. But we'll see how we
Yeah,
go.
they say once you do Australia, the next following series tend to be we have some good results, but
Yeah.
going to India, it's a different story as well. So we had a few debutants, Kamil Mishara, Janit Klianagi. Didn't see a lot out of them. Unfortunately, it got run out. But
Debut to forget.
yeah, but they'll take it. They debut
Yeah.
and they won the game. Not many get a chance
Yeah,
to,
that's true.
witness a win. So they'll have a run. They'll have
Yeah.
another opportunity to go. Kamil Mishar is a keeper, so there's a bit of flexibility and a left-hand batter, which is a good option to have top of the order. Yeah, I mean, they made the change, gave him the exposure, and
That is
we
good.
managed to get a win. So that's good to see.
That's really good. If you look into other news, Bora, National Super League finished, and
Yep.
you want to guess who won it? Yes, no surprise there. Jaffna won it, and the coach is
Ah,
Srilankancricketpodcast. Yeah,
Center
and
of excellence, take it out to Jaffna. That's where the cricket is these days. So
yeah, they might have to build a stadium in Jaffna now, bro.
yeah, Kanda has a statue maybe lined up for him up
Yeah.
there.
Dhananjay De Silva is the player of the series with 200s
Yeah.
and 350s. He has taken 11 wickets as well. So he has a really good series. So he's ready to go in the test matches against India, I guess. It's good to see.
Yeah, DDS is good value. He's a good player to have. Unfortunately, with the current T20 mix, he kind of finds himself out of that core team. But come test one days is good value.
Yeah.
Good fielder, bowls his all spin, bats top 3, top 4, and has a good presence about himself. He's done the right thing because he had a bit of time off, come back, scored runs. And he's pushing, spots in India. So it's a series almost that kind of went under the radar because the boys were in Australia playing a 5-match T20 series. So,
Yeah. And the
but
IPL
Super League,
auction.
yep,
Yeah.
IPL auction as well. So the Super League has to kick off now. That's a concept. They've made a change. They've got to continue that and find. Of course, they'll find out what are the things that went wrong and what we need to improve. They'll figure that out and be more competitive next year.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Should we go into a few
Yes.
questions?
Yeah, go
Wrap
for
it
it.
up, or?
Yeah.
I'll start with a comment. Christina from Spain. My boyfriend is Sri Lankan and he loves cricket, but I have no idea about the game. I found your podcast and listened to few episodes hoping to catch few cool things about Sri Lanka cricket, and you two are amazing. Thank you, Christina. I'm
Yeah.
sure your boyfriend is watching every game Sri Lanka plays.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the comment. That's a pretty good comment to have. At least, yeah, you are enjoying what we are talking about. For a person who is learning um,
Yeah,
cricket about the game, a bit of advice would be Sri Lankans, wherever they watch their game, loves to have the papare band going out, which plays a lot of music when the games are being played. I'm sure if you can play or find a bit more tunes on the papre bands, that's something your boyfriend will enjoy as well. So
yeah. Maybe
bit of an insight into Sri Lankan cricket and the entertainment that is around it.
maybe come to Sri Lanka when there's a tour, and then you'll enjoy the atmosphere. It's brilliant when the popular bands play in Sri Lankan grounds. You'll love it. Thanks for
Yep.
that comment. We'll move on to Asanta from Manchester. Good to have you guys back and looking forward to listen to your episodes in Sinhala. I am a fast bowler and I have a problem bowling no balls. Tried the usual measuring the run up and add another step, but results are the same. Any advice? Thanks. Yeah, I'll take this one, Bora. Yeah, bowling no balls is a common problem for a fast bowler. My advice for you is it's all in the run up. So if you have a balance run up, that's the key. So I can give you two tips to try out. Try these two. If one of them works, just let us know. So one thing you can do is you keep an umpire at a certain distance from the stumps, and when you take your jump, make sure you don't take that jump passing the umpire. I mean, that's one thing I tried and it worked for me. So then you know where to take your jump, right? So you keep the umpire at a distance, certain distance. You can measure it by steps. I used to have like 8 steps from the stumps. So measure what suits you. The other thing you can try is you just measure your run up by just do it by you just close your eyes and get someone to measure your run up for you. You just do your normal run up and bowl few balls and measure that run up and use that as your run up, and yeah, that normally works. Those two tips I can give you. And don't get into the habit of bowling no balls at training, because if you do it at training, there's a good chance you'll do it in the games as well. We fast bowlers, we say it's only at training, we don't bowl no balls in the games, but it's almost always it happens. So yeah, try those two and see how you go. Do you have any tips, Bora? Those are the two things I can think of.
Discipline. I think this is like exactly right. Discipline is key thing. We training to do something in a match. Gotta be disciplined enough. So sometimes we kind of go over the mark just so you can get a bit of edge on the batsman. But at training, gotta be behind the line. I guess fast bowling with that is you're a sprinter and a long jumper at a certain
Yeah.
stage. So um, if you can, I think the umpire is a good mark because it's a visible mark to have an idea to take off from him so you land inside. But at training, just got to sprint, long jump, and give yourself a bit of consistency to give yourself that feeling that you're landing in one area over a certain period of time, and that discipline will eventually get into your body. So again, training, that's what we train to
Yeah.
fix the issues. And I think the two tips that you gave him is perfect. You got to stick to that tips and work it over a period of time to get that correct.
Yeah, no, it's all about habits, isn't it? So this is a bad
Yeah.
habit. So
Yep.
you do the correct things at training, and you build up good habits. Yeah.
I
One
think
more.
there was one, from
Yep.
Rakita. I'm just trying to bring that question up though. All right,
The beep.
finally found it, and a bit of a chuckle because I was just reading through the message. Very passionate Rakita by the looks of it. Hey guys, just saw the highlights of the last T20. Not to be negative, but what the
Beep.
WTF they were the things happening in the Super Over. Why did Nissanka? So a couple of scenarios he talks about. Why this is the Super Over where we tied. Unfortunately, Rod Tucker thought let's make a match
Oh,
of it by tying the game. There was a white ball which could have gone our way, we feel, and would have won us the game, but didn't happen, and we ended up going into a Super Over. So the scenarios where, okay, I'll come back into the question. Why did Nissanka face the first ball? Shanaka, non-striker, is fine. Chandimal, one down, is also fine. Then again, why do we give a leg spinner to bowl a super over to protect 5 runs? Just because he's the world's number one, have a low run rate, does not mean he can do everything, especially when we had Chamira. Am I missing something here? Very passionate guy, very again, I think a lot of the fans were on the same thing. Even when we were watching, I was trying to justify why we went around those scenarios. I think when you're protecting 5 runs, what they would have thought about was let's try to get them out, low score,
up to stump.
get the wickets, make if we get 2 wickets out, we win the game.
Yeah.
That's what the thinking is, because they would have knocked the 5 runs anyway. So they would have tried that option. That's the thinking behind it. Shamir again, yes, quick would have been onto the stumps, but would he have been able to get the wickets? Not too sure, because the guys would have played it. This is a scenario that hasn't happened. We are trying to predict.
Yeah.
We saw the Vanidu bowl the over 5 runs. Why did he bowl? Because we saw him bowl the over and not get in success. Batting again, I think Vida, you want to tackle the batting part and give a WTF moment for Rakita? Is he all right?
No, I think I have to agree with him there.
Yeah.
It's all about shot selection, isn't it? I think you expected him to bowl outside the off-stump Yorkers, and
Yeah.
I don't know, we messed it up. We shouldn't, as you said, we shouldn't have been in this position anyway. But no, I'm upset now. You talk about that.
So you're on Rakita's camp. I think correct. I think spot on. Nissanka should have faced the first ball because he was the guy in form in that.
Yeah.
They would have given. Again, we're not sure what would have happened in the dressing room whether Nissanka was gassed out and he couldn't, run or whatnot. Don't know. That's if it's the case. They would have thought, oh, hang on, Dasun hit 3 sixes, probably has a better chance of hitting. Chandimal hit a 6 as well. They said, let's put him up as the non-striker. Just a poor shot. Dasun played. He played it 2 games in a row now. I mean, a low full toss. He tried to ramp it in the third game in the Super, when, if he would have just slogged the way he stands still and slog, he would have hit it for 6. And then the last game we played on Sunday, again, he tried to lap the ball and get out. So I'm guessing he would have learned from those 2 shots. So that would have been the thinking, to send those guys up the order. But if they can, and again, this is the first time all these boys are playing a super over. I mean, Vanidu, I don't think would have bowled a super over before, because I mean, right up till Lasith Malinga played, it was only Lasith Malinga bowls the super over. No. So same with the bat.
Yeah, we were blessed with Malinga to handle those situations. So now someone else has to put the hand up to do that. I think the call to bowl with Hasaranga was the right call, Bora, because as a batsman you have to make all the pace. So you had to play your shots to get those 5 runs, and that gives us a better chance to take those wickets. 2 wickets you talked about. So
Yeah.
I think that was the right call, because Chamira ball could have gone to the boundary with a thick edge, and that's 4 runs gone. So I think that's the right call. But we shouldn't
I
have
think if
been in this
we,
situation if Rod Tucker didn't mess things up.
because of Rod Tucker, we're having a few arguments. I think if we bowl the first over in the super over, Dushmantha Chamira would have bowled that over.
Yep.
I think it's 5 runs and having to defend. That's why they went Wanidu. Again, if the score went up to, if we had 12 runs to defend, Dushmantha would have bowled as well. Just the 5 run meant we have to get the wickets to bowl them out, or to get ahead and win the game. They would have thought the best guy to get us wickets at this stage is Wanidu. So that would have been the call they made with the bowling.
Don't know, going ahead, don't know whether we should consider Matish Theekshana to bowl this super.
Interesting one. So we've seen Sunil Narayan bowl beautiful suppers. I think he bowled the maiden and got wickets. So he's another guy. We got 3 options that we didn't have that before. It was only one Lasith Malinga last time we had that. So now we're sharing the workload. So
Now, thanks for the questions there and the comments as well. Shall we wrap it up there, Bara? I think that's about it.
Yeah, happy to wrap it up. I think we wrap up as Sri Lanka leaves the shores of Australia. They're flying they probably get into Sri Lanka for a bit and then go out, or they probably go from bubble to bubble. So we'll keep an eye out on that as the the Indian series kicks off. More cricket for us to follow. Please share your questions or feedback for us to, create more content on the episodes. And thanks a lot. The more feedback we get, that means you are listening in to what we discuss and what we see it as, what happens in the game we like.
Yes, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, cheers guys.